to r squared.
Very good. What is the equation of the circle in general form? Equation of the circle in general form. Okay, we're done with the first set of recitation. So, volunteer. Anybody? Sino gusto mag-recite? Equation of the circle in general form. Volunteer 1, 2,
Pinyosa, sir.
3.
Tabula po.
Minyo, Minyoza. Go.
The general form is x squared plus y squared plus dx plus ey plus f is equals to 0.
Very good. And general form is formed when we are going to expand the equation of the circle in standard form. For the characteristics of the graph of the equation of the circle with respect to the radius. So when can we say that the graph is a circle, a graph is a point, and graph, or it has no graph? Describe the radius. Anybody?
Pinyosa, sir. Pwede.
Pwedeng iba naman. One,
Jubay, sir. Can I
two,
try, sir?
you are?
Jubay po.
Jubay. Okay, Jubay.
So if a graph is a circle, the radius is a positive number. If it's a point, it the radius is 0, and if it doesn't have a graph, the radius is negative.
Very good. So I think we're ready for our next topic, which is parabola. So expect that every time we're going to have the discussion, we'll have a graded recitation. So I hope next time, mas marami nang ready mag-participate. Can you see my PowerPoint?
Yes, sir.
Yes po.
Okay. So another conic section is parabola. Definition: a parabola is a set of all coplanar points that are equidistant from a fixed line and a fixed point not on the fixed line. The fixed line is called the directrix of the parabola and the fixed point is called the focus. So later on, we'll have an illustration of what is a directrix and what is a focus because that would be part of the graph of a parabola. An illustration of parabola, we have here the vertical and horizontal line are the two axes on the Cartesian plane, which are the x and y axis. Then we have here the parabola, it parang smiley siya, which is open upward. We have two parts, the axis of symmetry, the latus rectum, the focus, the vertex, and the directrix. The line perpendicular to the directrix and passing through the focus F is called the axis of symmetry. The parabola is said to be symmetric with respect to this line. When I say axis of symmetry, it divides the parabola into two equal parts. Hinati niya yung parabola sa dalawa. And the parts should be equal, pareho. The chord that passes through the focus and perpendicular to the axis of symmetry is called the latus rectum. So we have here illustration of the latus rectum. And latus rectum is very important. Its endpoints are very important in graphing a parabola. The vertex and the endpoints of the latus rectum of the parabola are used in sketching the parabola. Gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, the endpoints of the latus rectum are very important in graphing the parabola plus the vertex. The point on the parabola midway between the latus rectum and the directrix is the vertex of the parabola. Midway, pinakagitna. The vertex is the point where the curve changes direction. So this is the vertex. A parabola is said to be in standard position if its vertex is at the origin and its principal axis is one of the coordinate axes. Standard position if its vertex is at the origin. So meaning to say, the vertex, itong vertex ng ating parabola dapat naka-lie dito sa origin for it to be considered a parabola in standard position. Parabola may be opened upward, downward, right, or left. Then later on, we're going to find out what would be the equation if it is open to right and left, and what would be the equation if it is open upward and downward. And our clues would be how the equations are uh, are formed, or paano sinulat yung equation, the exponent of x and y, plus the value of p. So again, plus the sign of p, not the value, the sign. If it is negative, then saan siya dapat naka-open? Left ba, right ba, upward ba, or downward? This is very important. The table of characteristics of parabolas with vertex at 0, 0. Meaning to say, the parabola is in standard position for now. Ito muna, ang first cases natin. The vertices of the parabola are is the origin of the Cartesian plane, or 0, 0. I want you to screenshot this now so that later on, if we are going to solve, or if I'm going to show you the solution of the problem, then you can check it right away. So screenshot. I'll give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Focus here in the second column. Y squared is equal to 4px. We have here y raised to the second power. So if y is raised to the second power in the equation, then the parabola could be open to left and open to right. When is the parabola open to right? If p is positive. The value of p is positive, and it is open to left if p is negative. That is when y is raised to the second power. Then we have here the guide. Later on, we're going to use this, so that is why I am asking you to screenshot this. Then on the third column, x squared, the equation is in the form of x squared is equal to 4py. X squared should be left on one side, better if it is on the left side. Then the rest should be on the other side, and x is raised to the second power. And in this form of equation, the parabola is open downward or upward. Upward if p is positive, downward if p is negative. The rest would be the guide later on in solving the focus, the directrix, endpoints of the latus rectum. So you are going to use this part here sa baba. Okay. Note that the parabola always bends towards the focus and away from the directrix. In other words, the parabola, if this is the parabola, the focus should be inside the parabola, and the directrix should be outside, nasa likod. Always. Hindi pwedeng nasa loob ang directrix or ang focus nasa labas. Again, sa parabola, focus should be inside, yung point, and the line, which is the directrix, should be outside. And the distances from vertex to focus and from vertex to the directrix should be equal. Dapat tandaan yan because later on, there might be shortcuts. Tuturuan ko kayo ng shortcut, paano mag-solve using by counting. So dapat tandaan natin kung ano yung mga definitions at ano yung mga important terms na dapat tandaan for the shortcut. The vertex is the midpoint of the segment joining the focus and the directrix. So we have here example find the coordinates of the focus and the equation of the directrix for each parabola. Draw the parabola, its focus, and directrix. If in your assignment or doon sa inyong activity na ipapagawa ko, only answer what are asked. So kagaya dito, find the coordinates of the focus. So you need to solve for the coordinates of the focus. Equation of the directrix. Then draw the parabola, the focus, and directrix. So again, answer only what is asked. Do not, or what are asked. Do not go beyond, dapat hindi din kulang. Kasi kahit marami ka pang isolve dyan, tapos hindi na siya kailangan dun sa problem, then hindi ko na siya i-check. The first problem is y squared is equal to 28x. So as you notice, y is raised to the second power. So going back to the guide that I asked you to screenshot, what column should we consider as our guide? Y is raised to the second power.
The
What
second
column?
volume, sir. The second po.
Sino yan?
Si Bukoy po.
Bukoy, remind me later to record your recitation, ha? Bukoy. So,
Sir.
y squared, thank you, very good. Y squared is equal to 28x. And looking at your guide, that is in the form of y squared is equal to 4px. Y is raised to the second power. That is why we are going to use the second column. Okay. Listen and pay attention how the problem is solved. The way I wrote the solution is the easiest way. Kung magtanong kayo ng shortcut for now, then wala pa. Because for now, that is the easiest way. So pay attention. We have here y squared is equal to 28x as the problem. We have the Cartesian plane. Better if you're going to solve, draw right away or draw first the Cartesian plane. Then I hope it is properly drawn and use pencil para malinis. Then since we're looking for these three coordinates of focus, equation of directrix, endpoints of latus rectum, then write it right away so that you would be guided on what to do. Then, using the second column, write the guide. So, example, coordinates of focus, P0. Andun yan sa second column. Equation of directrix, x is equal to negative P. And endpoints of latus rectum, P plus minus or positive negative 2p. Okay. Pay attention. Example. Can you hear the example yung kanina?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, sige, go. Find the coordinates of the focus and the equation of the directrix for each parabola. Draw the parabola, its focus, and directrix. So the first equation is y squared is equal to 28x. So we're going to find the coordinates of the focus. We have here the guide, P0. Equation of directrix, the guide is x is equal to negative p. Then later on, if we're going to graph, then we'll be using the endpoints of latus rectum. And for our guide, we have p and positive, negative 2p. The guide is based on the second column of the table, where the equation is in the form of y squared is equal to 4px. The first step is solve for p. And to solve for p, we're going to compare now the two equations. We have here y squared, then we have x, so therefore we can say that 4p is equal to 28. Okay. Are you familiar with solving equations using comparison? where you're going to compare the two equations. Are you familiar with the technique? Okay,
Yes, sir.
familiar? Di ba? If you're going to solve equations, pwedeng by elimination, by addition, di ba? Ganon. So, the method that I'm going to use here, that I used here is comparison, where you are going to compare each of the terms or each of the variables of each equation. So, halimbawa dito, the problem is y squared is equal to 28x. Then our guide is y squared is equal to 4px. Yun ang ating guide formula. So we will compare each of the variables. Y squared both on the left side of the equation. So y squared is equal to y squared. And then we also have on the right side of the equations, we have x and x. So therefore, x is equal to x. Of course, it is true because Sharon is equal to Sharon, Bukoy is equal to Bukoy. Pareho. Now, since these two are equal, y squared to y squared, x to x, then what are left are 28 and 4p. So therefore, since y squared is equal to y squared and x is equal to x, then we can also conclude that 4p or 28 is equal to 4p. Or ang 4p pareho sa 28. Did you get?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good.
Yes po.
So 4p is equal to 28. Then we have now a new equation and the variable left is p. So therefore, we can solve for p. Let's continue. Dividing both sides by 4. So cancel this. P is equal to 7. So from here, we can say that the coordinates of focus P0 as guide is now 7, 0. Equation of directrix, our guide, is x is equal to negative p. Then this is x is equal to negative 7. For endpoints of latus rectum, the first point is 7 because p is 7. Then positive 2p, so that is 2 times 7, then we'll have positive 14. Then the second point is 7, then negative 2p, this is negative 2 times 7, which is 14. So we have now the points. Remember that if we're going to graph, we need the vertex, the endpoints of latus rectum. So y squared is equal to 4px. The vertex is at the origin, so at 0, 0. Then, endpoints of latus rectum, 7, 14. 7, 14. So here. And 7, negative 14. And our focus is at 7, 0. The focus and the endpoints of latus rectum should be collinear, or they should be lying on the same line. So we can now connect these points, vertex to one endpoint of latus rectum, the vertex, and the other endpoint. So always remember that the focus and endpoints of latus rectum, if we're going to connect this, they should be lying on the same line. The latus rectum. To draw the directrix, our equation is x equals negative 7. So x negative 7 Then just draw a vertical line. So this is the directrix. So we have here the parabola, we have the focus, we have the latus rectum, the endpoints of latus rectum, then we have the directrix. The distance from the vertex to the focus is equal to the distance from vertex to the directrix. Question. Question so far? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, walang tanong. So, I think naintindihan. 'Di ba? Dun sa guide natin kanina, if p is positive and the equation is in the form of y squared is equal to 4px, or y is raised to the second power, if p is positive, then the parabola is open to right. So, it's correct. But if p is negative, then expect that the graph or the parabola is open to left. Okay, that is if y is raised to the second power or the equation is in the form of y squared is equal to 4px. So what if it is or x is raised to the second power? So the given is x squared minus y is equal to 0. This time, x is raised to the second power. So what would be the solution? The second problem is x squared minus y is equal to 0. We're going to find the coordinates of focus, equation of directrix, then for the graph later we need the endpoints of latus rectum. Looking at the equation x squared minus y is equal to 0, we can rewrite this as x squared is equal to y. So we transpose y to the right side of the equation. Our equation now is in the form of x squared is equal to 4py. So using the table, focus on the third column where the equation is in the form of x squared is equal to 4py. So for the coordinates of focus, the guide would be 0p. Equation of directrix, the guide would be y is equal to negative p. And for the graph later, endpoints of latus rectum, the guide is positive negative 2p, p. So now, let us compare these two equations. X squared is equal to y, and x squared is equal to 4py. We have here x squared, then we have y. So, the numerical coefficient of y is understood to be 1. So therefore, we can say that 4p is equal to 1. Again, 1 is the numerical coefficient of y. So divide both sides by 4. Cancel this. So p is equal to 1/4. Coordinates of focus. We have here p is equal to 1/4. So we can write here 0, then 1/4. Equation of directrix, y is equal to negative p. So right here, y is equal to negative 1/4. Endpoints of latus rectum. we have positive and negative 2p, then p. So first point, we have using positive. So positive 2 times 1/4, that is 1/2. So 1/2, then p is 1/4. Then the other point is negative 1/2, then 1/4. We have here the partition plane. As you notice, the interval is quite big. The spaces are quite big because our p is less than 1. The vertex is at the origin 0, 0. The focus is at 0, 1/4. So 0, 1/4. So we have here the focus. So malapit. Then endpoints of latus rectum. X is 1/2, Y is 1/4. So X is 1/2, Y is 1/4. Then the other one is X negative 1/2, then 1/4. Masyadong malapit because our P is less than 1. So we can now connect vertex to one endpoint, then the other endpoint of latus rectum. So this is now the latus rectum. They should be collinear. Then for the equation of directrix, or 4, which is y negative 1/4. So plot negative 1/4. So we are now plotting the directrix. Okay. So this is our graph. This is the parabola. This is the focus, the latus rectum, endpoints of latus rectum. Then we have the directrix. The distance from vertex to focus is equal to the distance from the vertex to the directrix. Question so far? Question? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Naintindihan ba? Naintindihan ng ang paano ang pag-graph, paano ang pag-solve?
Yes po.
Sir, nakamute po kayo.
Thank you. Sinabi ko kanina, you are lucky for now because this is online. The discussion is online, doing your assignment is online, and you have the freedom. You are allowed to look at your guide while answering the problem. But if this is face to face, and I don't know if one of this next month or next month will have the face to face, then you would not be allowed to have your guide during the exam. So you have to memorize all the formula. So meaning to say, yung guide kanina na inano ninyo, screenshot, you have to memorize that if it is face to face. So habang meron pa tayong freedom, meron pa tayong allowed pa tayong mag-answer na may guide, then i-grab na natin. And you have better if you have to answer the problems sa na kayo-kayo lang, or if you want to answer it by group with your friends, then okay lang din, but please do not just copy the answers of your classmates. Kayo din ang lugi. Kasi after ng pre-calculus, meron pa tayong basic calculus. And for sure, that time, magiging face-to-face na tayo. So as early as now, dapat marunong tayong mag-solve, especially sa graphing. Kasi maraming graphing talaga ang calculus. So I think medyo malinaw ang ating equation of the parabola when the vertex is at the origin. So tomorrow, we'll have the continuation of this. The condition is if the vertex is any point on the Cartesian plane. Kagaya ng circle last time, meron tayong equation if the center is at the origin, meron din tayong equation if the center is not the origin. Okay? So, stop ko na ang sharing. Nag-recite kanina na hindi ko na-record ay si Pukoy. Sino ang mag-volunteer? Very short lang ang ating discussion kasi magiging bitin siya if I'm going to continue and magiging useless lang. And our expect in calculus that the follow-up session would also use the entire period ng klase. Unlike sa ibang subject na pag follow-up session, medyo short na lang. So dito, kailangan ma-maximize natin ang time. Sino ang mag-volunteer para sa screenshot today? Buddy?
Ako na lang po, sir.
Sino yan?
Carrion po.
Carry on. Di ba nag-recite si